When you need to create a direct magical link to someone causing harm, Poppet work offers one of the most powerful methods in folk magic. Today I'm sharing how to create and use a hexing Poppet to hold wrongdoers accountable and ensure justice is served. Hello my darlings, and welcome. In this video I'll guide you through the art of Poppet hexing. I'll explain how to create a magical link, the symbolism behind each step, and the different ways that you can work with your Poppet to reflect consequences back on those who cause harm. Let's do some magical hexing. As I walk you through this process, I need to be clear about the gravity of this work. Poppet hexing creates a direct energetic connection between you and another person, and what you do to the Poppet, you're doing energetically to them. This isn't magic work to undertake lightly or something to experiment with casually. This is serious work that carries serious consequences and requires serious ethical consideration. If you do not work baneful magic, then this video is not for you. I have hundreds of other videos and tutorials for positive magic that you can watch. I also have a social justice magic playlist that I'll link below that offers more ideas on how to use magic to work against a corrupt political system like the one I find myself living under now. Folk magic has always belonged to those who had no other path to justice, no other way to hold the powerful accountable. Throughout history, Poppet work has been a tool for the powerless when systems failed them, when wealth or status or legal protection shielded wrongdoers from consequences. This tradition continues today. Poppet hexing is for situations where someone causes genuine harm and every other avenue for justice has been exhausted or blocked. It's for corrupt institutions, abusive individuals in positions of power, and oppressive systems that perpetuate suffering. It's not for petty grievances, personal disagreements, or silencing people whose opinions you dislike. If you're considering this work, ask yourself, has real harm been done? Have other remedies failed? Is this person or institution actively causing suffering and escaping accountability? If the answer is yes to all three, then Poppet magic offers you a way to say, not anymore. Your actions return to you. Justice will be served even if human systems fail. Poppet magic is highly effective because the doll becomes a symbolic representation of the person, and what you do to the doll, you're doing energetically to them. This creates a direct magical link that bypasses many of the protections or defenses your target may have. Poppet work requires intention, focus, and unwavering clarity about why you're doing this work. Start with a plain white fabric doll. You can make one yourself by cutting a simple human shape from white fabric and sewing it together, leaving a small opening for stuffing. I'm using a doll I purchased online to start with. The blank white canvas represents the person stripped of their power and defenses. You're starting with them in their most vulnerable state, before they've built up the armor of wealth, status, or legal protection that shields them from consequences. Before you stuff and dress the Poppet, you need to create a strong magical link. If you have something that belonged to your target, like a strand of hair, a fingernail clipping, a signature, or even a photograph, place it inside the Poppet. Personal items create the strongest magical connections because they carry the person's essence, their DNA, their energy signature. If you don't have a personal item, write the person's full name on a piece of paper 9 times. 9 is a number of completion and finality in folk magic. Then cross those 9 lines with their name, with 9 lines describing their harmful behavior. Write things like abuser, exploiter, corrupt politician, environmental destroyer, whatever accurately describes the harm that they cause. This crossing creates a binding between who they are and what they've done, ensuring the hex targets the harmful behavior specifically. Place this paper inside the poppet. This creates a strong enough link for the spell to work. If you know or can find your target's birth date and birth location, you can generate an astrological chart for them to use as another form of magical connection. If your target is a public person, it may be as simple as looking on Wikipedia or asking in any search engine. When you don't have physical items like hair or fingernails, an astrological chart functions as astrological DNA. The exact planetary positions at the moment and location of someone's birth are unique to them, creating a cosmic fingerprint. This chart captures their energetic blueprint at the moment they entered the world. Include a printed copy of their chart in the poppet or alongside the name paper, or use the star chart in your magical working alongside the poppet in some way. This gives you a powerful tag lock that connects directly to who they are on a fundamental level, linking the poppet to their unique cosmic signature. To stuff your poppet, you can use cotton batting as a base, but I recommend adding herbs that align with hexing work. Each herb you add layers meaning and power into your working. Use wormwood for banishing and bitter endings. Wormwood carries the energy of divine judgment and ensures your targets taste the bitterness of their own actions. Use nettles for stinging consequences. The persistent discomfort of nettle ensures your target can't find comfort or relief from the harm rebounding on them. Use black pepper for aggression and discomfort. This keeps your target in a constant state of irritation and agitation, making their temper work against them. Use cayenne for burning away power. This herb speeds up the manifestation of consequences and scorches your target's reputation and influence. If you don't have these specific herbs and spices, you can substitute with what you do have available. Folk magic works with what's accessible to you. Here are some other suggestions. Consider using poisonous plants that are common in many areas. Oleander is widely available and carries strong associations with danger, toxicity, and death. Even touching oleander can cause skin irritation, and in magical work, it brings that same toxic energy to your hex. Foxglove, while beautiful, is deadly poisonous and represents deception and leads to downfall. Hemlock is associated with execution and endings. Yew has ancient connections to death and graveyards. Nightshade family plants like Datura or belladonna carry associations with madness, confusion, and danger. Handle all poisonous plants with extreme caution, using gloves, and never ingest them or allow them near your mouth or eyes. As you stuff the poppet, visualize your target's harmful qualities being captured and contained within this form. See their cruelty, their greed, their abuse of power being bound inside of this small doll. Speak your intention as you work. Your harm is contained, your power is bound, your actions return to you. So the opening closed. Your poppet is now bound and complete. The person's essence and their harmful behavior are sealed inside. Dressing and decorating the poppet is optional, but if you want to make your poppet appear more like your target, you can dress or decorate it to strengthen the visual connection. The plain white doll works perfectly well on its own, but some practitioners find that personalizing the poppet increases their focus and intention. If your target has distinctive hair, you could add yarn or thread in a similar color to represent their hair, or draw facial features with a marker if you want to visualize their face. If they always wear a particular color or style of clothing, you can dress the poppet in a small piece of fabric that matches. If they wear glasses, you can fashion tiny glasses from wire. If they have tattoos or distinctive jewelry, you can mark these on the poppet. I've chosen to use acrylic paint markers to decorate my doll. I'm not trying to be artistic. Instead, I'm scribbling and scratching the pigment onto the doll, putting all of my emotion and intention into the decoration. The goal isn't to create a perfect likeness, but to add visual cues that help you maintain focus on who this puppet represents. Every time you look at it, you should immediately think of your target. However, remember that the magical ink comes from what's inside the puppet, the name paper, the personal items, the astrological chart, not from surface appearance. The decoration is for your benefit to keep your intention sharp and your focus clear. Before I discuss the different hexing methods, I want to talk about timing. While folk magic has always been practical and adaptable, working with favorable astrological and natural cycles can amplify your hex significantly. The waning moon is ideal for Poppet hexing work. This is the period between the full moon and the new moon, when the moon's light is decreasing. The waning moon is associated with banishing, binding, decreasing influence, and removing unwanted things from your life. I chose to do this working during the dark moon, just before the new moon, when the moon is barely visible or invisible. It's the most powerful time for serious hexing and banishing work. Dark moon energy is perfect for shadow work, justice magic, and confronting those who operate in darkness themselves. If your hex is particularly serious or your target particularly harmful, wait for the dark moon if you can. Avoid the waxing moon, the period between new and full, as this phase is for growing, building, and increasing. Saturday is the traditional day for hexing, binding, and banishing work because it's ruled by Saturn, the planet of limitations, restrictions, karma, and consequences. Saturn's energy is perfect for hexing because Saturn is the great teacher who ensures that actions have consequences and that justice, even delayed, eventually arrives. Saturn doesn't forgive, doesn't forget, and doesn't allow anyone to escape what they've earned through their actions. Midnight is the traditional witching hour, when the veil between the worlds is thinnest and magical work is most potent. For hexing, working at midnight adds power because you're working in darkness, in the liminal space between one day and the next. The in-between time amplifies magic that deals with endings and transformations. When hexing for political or social justice reasons, it's often impossible to wait for perfect magical timing. If someone is causing active harm right now, work your hex when you can. The moon will wane again, Saturday will come around, and your intention and justification matter more than perfect astrological timing. Folk magic has always been practical magic, and practitioners throughout history have worked hexes when they need to, not just when stars aligned perfectly. Now comes the hexing work itself. Unlike blessing poppets that you might dress in nice fabric and treat kindly, a hex poppet gets treated according to the harm you want to reflect back on your target. The key to all these methods is clarity of intention. As you perform each action on the poppet, speak your intention out loud. Describe exactly what you want to happen to this person. The more specific you are, the more effective your hex becomes. If you want to bind their ability to cause harm, wrap the puppet tightly in black thread or cord. Be strategic about where you bind. Wrap the mouth if you want to silence their harmful speech, preventing them from spreading lies, manipulating others, or using their voice as a weapon. Wrap around the hands if you want to stop their harmful actions, making them unable to sign unjust laws, write harmful policies, or physically hurt others. Wrap around the feet if you want to prevent them from advancing in their pursuits, stopping their career progression, or blocking their path to greater power where they could cause more harm. As you wrap each area, speak clearly. Your mouth is bound from harmful speech. Your words fall on deaf ears. Your manipulation fails. Your hands are bound from harmful action. Every scheme you touch unravels. Every document you sign turns against you. If you want to cause confusion and disruption in their plans, turn the puppet upside down and keep it that way. Hang it from its feet. This inverts their world, making everything they try to accomplish go wrong. Their thoughts become muddled, their plans fall apart, and they can't seem to get their footing. Every time they think they've found solid ground, it shifts beneath them. If you want to freeze their influence or stop them completely, place the poppet in a container of water and freeze it. Every time you look at the frozen poppet in your freezer, you're reinforcing that this person's power is frozen solid, unable to flow or function. They're stopped cold. Their influence is iced. Nothing they attempt moves forward. This is particularly effective for stopping legislation, blocking harmful policies, or preventing someone from taking action. If you want their schemes to fall apart and their reputation to decay, bury the poppet in dirt and let nature break it down slowly. Choose a spot where the poppet will stay buried and deteriorate. As the fabric rots and the herbs decompose, as the elements break down the physical form, so does your target's standing and their ability to function. This is a slow hex, appropriate for long-term consequences. As they decay socially, professionally, and reputationally, they lose everything they built through harm. If you want to send back the pain they've caused others, you can pierce the poppet with pins or needles. This is the most aggressive form of poppet hexing and should be reserved for the most harmful individuals. Pierce the heart area to cause emotional anguish, making them feel the pain they've inflicted on others. Pierce the head to cause mental distress and clouded judgment, ensuring they can't think clearly or make effective plans. Each pin represents the harm they've caused coming back to them, the suffering they've inflicted returning threefold. In my working, I'm binding my target's mouth and hands with black thread, and once that is done, I'm binding the entire poppet again upside down inside of a small cage, twisting and distorting its limbs in order to fit it inside a limiting and painful space where my target has no autonomy or ability to move or act. A poppet hex typically remains active as long as the poppet exists in its hexed state. If you've frozen it, it stays frozen until justice is served. If you've buried it, it continues to decay. If you've bound it, those bindings remain. I've created a social justice altar in my sacred space where I will place this poppet and I'll continue to put my energy into the magical working. I've surrounded the cage with 13 pieces of obsidian with the sharpest points directed at my target, making sure to protect my space and my home by containing the baneful energies of the spell inside of the circle. I'll be directing all of my rage, sorrow, and feelings of helplessness into this poppet as a way of releasing that energy from me and banefully applying it to my target. You can strengthen your hex by periodically revisiting your poppet and reinforcing your intention. Hold it, speak to it, remind it of its purpose. The more attention and intention you feed into the working, the more powerful it becomes. You'll know when the hex has served its purpose. Your target faces consequences, loses their platform, can no longer cause harm. When justice has been served, you can choose to end the working. If the poppet is frozen, you can let it thaw and then bury it to return it to the earth. If it's buried, you can dig it up and burn it to release the working. If it's bound, you can unbind it and burn the materials. However, if the harm continues, if your target evades consequences or continues their destructive behavior, the hex remains active. Poppet magic is persistent and patient. It works until the job is done. When someone causes genuine harm, when systems fail to hold them accountable, when wealth or status or legal protection shields them from justice, Poppet magic offers a way to say, not anymore. You don't get to harm people without consequence. Your actions are returned to you. Justice will be served, even if human systems fail. Folk magic has always belonged to those who had no other recourse, no other path to justice. Poppet work continues that tradition. It's a tool for accountability when all other tools have failed. May your work be precise, may your intention be clear, and may justice find those who believe themselves untouchable.